Hello and welcome to our latest episode of Gina's Gems, where you get to meet the team behind the scenes. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Kim Stattner, one of our senior client leaders out of our Chicago office. Kim is here to share some gems with us relative to a project she led for the largest nonprofit health system with over 100,000 eligible employees and a national footprint. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Gina. Thanks for having me.
I'm so thrilled to have you here. Before we get into it, I'd love for you to share a quick fun fact about yourself.
Sure. Well, if I had not fallen into this great business that we're in today, I would have been a sportscaster. Growing up in Chicago, I have a tremendous love for all sports teams, and that was my passion. So that didn't materialize for me, so here I am.
Well, lucky us. Do you have a favorite? Bears, Hawks?
Definitely Blackhawks. Hockey fan all the way.
Love it. Me too. Awesome. Go Hawks. So Kim, it seems that a lot of large employers are assessing their current leave of absence administration processes and evaluating whether they should continue to outsource or bring in-house. I know you and your team recently conducted this project for a large healthcare client. So can you share with us what the project entailed?
Sure. It was a 3-year effort, so a little bit longer than what we would have expected. But the driving force behind the project itself was to improve the employee experience. The organization had outsourced their administration to a vendor, but they thought that they could do a better job of engaging and connecting with the employee through the process. And as a result of that, their expectations were then that a more engaged workforce would lead to less lost time in the workplace, obviously then driving some savings, would give them an opportunity also to improve on their compliance, not so much from the leave of absence legislative space, but in consideration of the ADA and the influence that ADA can have in conjunction with leaves of absence. So we conducted an RFP to evaluate whether there was an outsourced entity that could meet their needs, or would they consider a software solution. So in the end, after doing the RFP effort, they decided software was the way that they were going to go, and they brought it in-house. We began our implementation effort about a year prior to the launch date, and they've been operational for a couple of months.
Amazing. That's really helpful and valuable information. But I have one more question. If an organization is interested in assessing whether to bring LOA admin in-house or not, what are some of the key questions that you recommend they ask themselves?
Do they have the appetite to make a commitment to a long-term undertaking? Doing the RFP obviously takes some time. The implementation effort takes some time. And in conjunction with implementation, they've got to consider the transition of their open leaves of absence events. And so that's a large undertaking. So it's not only a commitment on time, it's a commitment on resources. Do they have the capacity to take people away from what might be their day jobs to go through an implementation effort of that magnitude? Do they have the ability to engage and get commitment from IT, from payroll, and other key stakeholders? So at the end of the day, it's a very large undertaking. And we would also encourage them that they get the support from their absolute top leadership. That resource really needs to not only be committed to the outcome, but then recognize that it might be necessary to cause stakeholders to pivot and become more engaged. Because realistically, when you've got a launch date and you're transitioning open leave of absence events, if all of a sudden there's a delay from an IT capacity perspective, you don't get to push the launch date. Those open events are transitioning. So it's a really large commitment and effort. And so do they have the capacity to take on something like that to move forward?
Yeah, it sounds like there are a lot of puzzle pieces to put together and need a lot of buy-in and certainly a heavy lift. So I know you guys did a great job with that. So thank you so much for sharing your insights and experience. This was really enlightening. Thank you all for joining us today. We hope to see you again for our next episode. We'll talk about how employers are leveraging APIs to more effectively integrate HRIS and the vendors. So we will see you soon. Thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you.